Hi everybody, Voodoo here, and we're here today with a video I normally do every single time there's a patch. That's going to be, should you play Demon Hunter in the War Within? Now we're going to combine both Vengeance and Havoc together on this one and go pretty quick on it. We don't want to take too long here. So obviously, like, comment, subscribe. Tons of the War Within content, Havoc, Vengeance, and other specs, Survival, Fury, probably stuff that's going to show up. And support the channel. Yeah, we're close to 11,000 subscribers, which is cool. And before we get to the video, word from our sponsors, and then we'll get right onto it. So, peace. Before we get to the video, a quick word from this video's sponsor, and that is going to be G Fuel, but not just G Fuel this time. It's also going to be Neopets. Now, Neopets is one of those things that if you grew up in the early 2000s, late 90s, that you probably know a little bit about. It's an online gaming pet simulator, take care of thing with a lot of really cool creatures. It was really popular when I was younger. I remember coming home and playing this, and they're turning 25. And to celebrate, G Fuel is releasing a brand new flavor and bundle just for them, the Great Golden Slushy and Golden Berry flavor. Now, there's an entire bundle with this as well, as you see on your screen right here. So if you remember playing with Neopets when you were younger, you love that stuff, or you just want to help support the channel, go check them out. The flavor is delicious. It has like 17 different berry blends to it. It's got the energy flavor in it as well for helping with gaming, gym stuff, or anything else. So yeah, so just go check them out. Neopets turning 25, help celebrate with that, and check out G Fuel as well, the hydration formula for gamers. So use code Voodoo or link in the description, and thanks for sponsoring the video. Now on to the real one. Alright, so first things first, let's talk about the class changes coming to both Havoc and Vengeance. So for Havoc Demon Hunter, Havoc got nothing. They got literally no changes. Did you really think there'd be some? Like, that's hilarious. Like, Blizzard's do that, you're funny. Yeah, Havoc, no changes. Now for Vengeance though, there actually was one pretty significant change. That's down here to illuminated sigils. So beforehand, what this did is gave you 2 charges of every single sigil known to man. You got Sigil of Flame, Sigil of Change, Sigil of Silence, Sigil of Misery, Elysian Decree, which is down here, and also, oh sorry, Sigil of Spite now. They renamed it. I guess that's a change. That is no longer the case. Now it just gives you an extra charge of Sigil of Flame, but also reduces its cooldown by 5 seconds. Now, this is a large control nerf for Vengeance Demon Hunter. It's also a pretty sizable offensive and defensive nerf because of the loss of Sigil of Spite, but you have some more uptime of Sigil of Flame. Other than that, changes are mostly non-impactful. There was a nerf to Fire Demise, and that's also a nerf to Sigil of Misery duration from 20 to 15 seconds. That's it. Nothing super major. The big stuff's going to be the hero talent trees. So obviously, with nothing new in the class trees, the next big thing is going to be the hero talents. Now let's talk about them. So both Havoc and Vengeance have access to the same 2 hero talents. This isn't like most other classes where each of the spec has 2 options that they share one choice with each other spec. So on Warrior, for instance, Prot shares 1 with Fury, 1 with Arms, and Arm shares 1 with Fury, 1 with Prot, so on and so forth. Vengeance and Havoc have only 2. There's only 2 for the Havoc, for the Demon Hunter's tree. Sucks, but whatever. So Aldrachi Reaver is the first one. The Aldrachi warriors are the ultimate glaive masters and wielded their blades with deadly grace, consuming souls and imbuing their weapons with greater power. Basically what this is glaive and soul stuff. The whole thing revolves around collecting 6 souls and then throwing out a glaive. I believe it's 10 or 15 souls for Vengeance. We can swap over right now and take a look at it. But the whole thing revolves around collecting souls and then throwing out the glaive. Once you do throw out the glaive, you activate sort of a combo. So if we go here, it is 20 actually for Vengeance. So you activate a combo and it changes depending on what you do. So the combo empowers your next for Vengeance, Fracture and Soul Cleave. For Havoc, Chaos Strike and Blade Dance. Now if you use your Fracture or Soul Cleave first or second in the combo, it's going to change what effect you get. Now whenever you use your Fracture or Chaos Strike, you're going to apply Reaver's Mark to a target, which does 7% increased damage. If you use this second, so after either Soul Cleave or Blade Dance, depending on your spec, it's going to double to 14. The way this works is through stacks, so you can, if you get enough of them, you can just stack them up. But this is more like a single target option. The other one, where if you use Blade Dance or Soul Cleave second, you get slashes. Now normally you'll get 3 slashes. If you use them second, you'll get 6 slashes, so it doubles the damage there. The capstone here is after you finish that combo, you gain attack speed, which is really useful for another node, Wounded Quarry, which gives you more souls, as well as a damage and healing 20% buff. The whole tree revolves around getting as many of these glaives as possible, staying to 1 target because of Wounded Quarry, and just having as much uptime of Thrill to the Fight as possible. The visuals is that once you collect either 6 souls or use the hunt, your throw glaive gets replaced with the Reaver's glaive here. You can see it glowing purple, goes in your bar. Whenever you use that, it's going to throw out a big purple glaive. And that's going to be all it does. So here's the glaive. Boom. That's the only visual for this tree at all. There's nothing else. So as you can tell, a little bit lackluster in the visuals. We're going to be very, very good in single target. Now, swapping over to Fel-Scarred here. Fel-Scarred is more of a demon-focused tree. The Fel-Scarred embrace their inner demon and amplify the explosive power of the Fel Fire they wield. And the whole thing around that is in Demon Surge. Basically, whenever you activate Demon Form, you get a bonus. For Havoc, its meta causes Demon's Blades or Demon's Bite to generate more fury. For Vengeance, it causes meta to actually empower Spirit Bomb and Soul Cleave, like how meta empowers Chaos Strike and Blade Dance for Havoc. And while this is active, whenever you use an empowered ability, you do a little Fel explosion around you. And an empowered ability is just going to be one of the abilities that gets buffed by 30% while you're in meta. So think Chaos Strike turning into Annihilation. Annihilation would be an empowered ability. It matters because of Demonic Intensity. Activating Metamorphosis greatly empowers Eye Beam, Immo Aura, and Sigil of Flame. Now, if you're Vengeance, of course, it empowers Fel Devastation. Whenever you use Demon Surge, its damage is increased by 10% for each time it previously triggered while your Demon Form is active. The whole idea here is you're in your Demon Form, you're getting huge Fel explosions around you. There's little things that improve that, giving you more Sigil of Flame and Immolation auras. This also resets Fel Devastation for Vengeance. You have extra single target damage with Focused Hatred if you're hitting one target, which sucks. And you have some passives around the tree as well. Some stuff that buffs out of Demon Form damage, which I don't think is very good, but it's kind of off theme. You have Burning Blades, which is another extra single target priority damage thing. And you have Untethered Fury for more Fury. Now, what does this look like visually? Again, not a lot. So we're going to go into our little thing here. I'm going to hit meta. I guess I'll use my things first. So we'll use Sigil, we'll use Immolation Aura, we'll use Eye Beam. You can see everything's off CD. Now, if I use an empowered ability, I'm going to do a little green explosion around me. Probably like, oh, you know, Death Sweep and Blade Dance have new, Death Sweep and Annihilation have new visuals, no, not visuals, but icons when they're in meta. Well, if we go in meta, you'll see that Eye Beam, Sigil Flame, and Immolation Aura also got new icons. Now, the thing with that is there's no new visuals. The only visuals for this tree is going to be this little green fart around you, which is obviously not super exciting, but you get the idea. You use your abilities, boom, you blow Fel energy around you, and then you just have kind of little minor stuff outside of that. So those are all the new things. Now let's talk about what's going to be played. So for the most part, Havoc is going to play Aldrachi Reaver in single target. It's way ahead, like 17 to 18% of Fel-Scarred. But in Mythic Plus, there's a choice. As you go to higher keys and you're pushing high keys, Aldrachi is going to be the best because it has single target damage, priority damage. It's more defensive, it has more versatility. But if you're doing weakly keys or lower keys, Fel-Scarred is going to do a ton of AoE damage and will keep up pretty well there. Obviously, as you go higher and priority and single target matter more, it's going to drop a bit off. The same is practically true for Vengeance as well. The tankiness of Aldrachi is much higher than that of Fel-Scarred. Aldrachi is going to be the lock and raid where you basically just need damage. Survivability doesn't matter as much. In Mythic Plus, Fel-Scarred is the higher damage choice, but so again, it's really good for weakly keys. But as you go higher and you're doing high keys that require more survivability, require more damage from your tank as well, for like single target damage and priority damage as well, Aldrachi is just going to be the best. And of course, it is the most versatile, and versatility as a tank is very, very important. For builds, Vengeance is basically going to play the same builds as last tier. There might be some new like things thrown in there, but for the most part, it's going to be very similar stuff. Havoc, on the other hand, kind of similar boat. In single target, you can play no mover builds and they'll be roughly equal to maybe a bit better. It's hard to say because we don't fully know how much downtime in the raid is going to impact our builds. Right now, Shattered Destiny is roughly 4 to 5% ahead of the movement builds, Shattered Destiny being low mover with just Vengeful Retreat. But those builds are very uptime requirement, and it's really hard to tell if that's actually going to end up being the best option or not, basically until we get into the raid and can tell if the downtime is significant or not. In Mythic Plus, there'll also are a ton of options, but again, it's mostly going to be movement stuff there with Essence Break, with a few flex points. So very similar to Season 3 or Season 4. So not a lot of stuff really changing. You know, what is good and bad, I guess. But, you know, there's that. In terms of viability, Vengeance looks like a very powerful Mythic Plus tank. Obviously, the 5% magic damage is insane still. They lose a lot of their stops, but they do really good damage, and they're really survivable, and they bring Chaos Brand for what's looking to be a very ranged-friendly and ranged-heavy meta. For Havoc, your AoE damage is going to be pretty solid in terms of Fel-Scarred or Aldrachi, but you're going to be in melee. Now, you're going to be a very good melee. You bring the brand, you bring really good survivability. Your damage isn't like the top tier, like something like Frosty Death Knight might be at the moment in time, but your damage is going to be very viable and very flexible. So you should find some spots. Probably won't be like the absolute easiest thing to pug, but you could probably also pretty easily pug as Vengeance. In Raid, we're going to flop the other way. Havoc looks really good in Raid. Our single target damage is really high with Aldrachi, as we talked about. And Vengeance is like a really strong tank option as well, looking like it's going to do a lot of damage with Aldrachi too. So in Raid, I think Demon Hunters are looking really good. Mythic Plus, Vengeance is looking great. Havoc's looking solid, fine, not bad, not blow you off. Not blow you away amazing, but still pretty good. So viability wise, they're actually a pretty good pick, especially if you want to alternate between the two of them. Now let's get to the big question: should you play one? If what I've talked about doesn't sound that exciting, I think you can kind of get the main theme of this video. Havoc and Vengeance are going into the new expansion. Fine, they're going pretty much in the same spot they're in. For Havoc, actually, we're losing our really cool tier set, the one that gives us the Hunt CDR, which is super fun, that throws the Glaze for us for free, which looks cool and is free cleave and is really good at spreading Burning Wound around. And Vengeance is also losing their, I guess, kind of mediocre tier set with Sigil Flame stuff, so it doesn't really matter. But they are losing all of the things that revolve around the sigils and control in that sense. So basically both of them are going to just be worse versions of their live counterparts. And that's not great. Now, it'd be sellable if the visuals were good, but the visuals also aren't that good. I still think Havoc is fun as a base, because Season 3 Havoc's really fun, Season 3 Vengeance is really fun, and that's not technically going away. But I think both the hero trees actually don't really add anything good. And in Aldrachi's sense, I think that the gameplay is actually not that fun. It's very uptime reliant, it's very bad at target swapping. They're basically taking a lot of the bad parts of both Nemesis and Sinful Brand and smushing it together there. In terms of Fel-Scarred, its gameplay is fine. It can be kind of fun when you're building up to your big demon surges with meta. It makes meta very bursty, which is always enjoyable to do. But at the same time, it's just kind of boring. It doesn't really do a ton. There's no real payoff. Same with Aldrachi. The payoff is just hit the target more. But for Fel-Scarred, like, you're kind of just like lacking that payoff. Of course, both of them have huge visual issues as well. There's nothing cool happening. I'm sitting in a bunch of target dummies while I'm recording this on my main monitor. You guys can't see it, but a bunch of other classes are doing different things, and they all have significantly cooler visuals. Mages summoning phoenixes, shadow priests summoning all the void stuff, or doing big black halos, death knights with their horses, or with massive scythes they're summoning, shamans with a bunch of like echoes of themselves and a bunch of like pets they're summoning, warlocks summoning massive demons, warriors with like lightning effects coming down from the sky. Like, there are a lot of cooler trees out there. So I think that's kind of the big thing. Havoc's going to be fun. It's a little bit worse than last year, but last year was still pretty fun. It's going to be in a pretty good spot in the meta, but due to a lot of like issues with hero trees and issues with Aldrachi and Fel-Scarred, it's not going to be as good as it can be. So really what we can hope for at this point is fixes and changes and buffs. Well, not buffs, I guess. We're in a good spot damage wise, but visual improvements. Our trees get less bad in 11.0.5, because at this point we're shipping. So we're shipping in a spot where damage-wise, viability-wise, we're actually in a really good spot. And if you enjoy playing Havoc in the past, you'll still enjoy it now. But if you're looking for something new and exciting and like, oh wow, a lot of cool things are coming in at once, and you've been playing since Season 3, you're not really going to find that with Havoc. If you have been playing since Season 3, give it a try. It's still going to be a fun experience, still going to be very viable, very self-sufficient, and a pretty good pug option, but it won't be as cool and shiny as new as a lot of other options. But we're still going to have content for it, so don't you worry, I'm not going anywhere. We're still going to be Demon Hunter focused, but we will have little other Survival Hunter, Fury Warrior, other melee specs sprinkled in as the season goes along. So hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Let me know if you're actually going to play Demon Hunter or not. If you're a multi-specker, I think you're going to be in a better spot than someone who's just doing one spec, because you can play Vengeance and Mythic Plus, Havoc and Raid, and do pretty good in that space. Especially because their gearing is kind of similar. Vengeance doesn't want as much mastery as Havoc does, but pretty close still. But yeah, you know, we're not in the worst spot. We're better than we were before, but we're not in the best spot either. Yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed. Next video is going to be a leveling guide for Havoc for the War Within, and looking forward to it, honestly, even though this video was a bit doomer at the end. I am looking forward to playing with the new stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Peace. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you Sky Elk, Andrew Keenel, 100,001 Zans, Brad Wisniak, Felfa Darren Dark Terror, and Magic Man 133. Thank you all so much. If you want to help support me and help fund the channels and the videos, follow the link in the description to become a channel member and get some cool perks in the process. Again, thank you all so much. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.